I'm on top.
Yo, no, I ain't the type to give up. If I do something, man, I do it till I get what I want. I turn a business out of nothing into something I love. I got a poker face, but honestly, I'm not one to bluff. I flip a switch, never miss, man, I always stay up. Don't let them see you, bitch, always have a plan to stay tough. This life ahead of you ain't easy, it was built to be rough. But that's what makes a personality, is tragedy, bruh. So keep your head on your shoulders. Now we ain't out here moving rocks, we out here moving boulders. Now we ain't getting posterized, we out here making posters, and we ain't got nothing to hide.
What up? What up? What is going on? Happy Friday, TGIFF to everybody out there. Hope you guys had a great week. Summer is here. It's getting hot. Hot up in her. And we're getting hot up in her as well. No show yesterday. Made the executive decision that with one baseball game and two WNBA games, wasn't worth anybody's time. So we had our afternoon fun. We got after it. We did what we did, but save it up and run it back here for today because we've got ourselves a pretty good slate. I'll say that. I'll say this. We've got some baseball. We've got some new series popping off here. Toronto and Boston. Philly, Atlanta, San Francisco, the White Sox, Seattle, Texas, and Miami and Arizona. I've got 3 WNBA games that I'll share with you guys. And then we'll bring on our friend from the Las Vegas Superbook down there in the Westgate, Las Vegas. Sunny, hot Las Vegas to talk to us about what's going on for UFC 317. Our guy, Andrew Babakitis, will join us here 6:45. So you know the deal. We got just over a half an hour to get through this card and fire away. And fire away we will. We've had seven winning days in a row on the show. Some have been a unit. Some have been 3 units. Some have been 7 units. But there are 7 of them in a row. So trying to close out now 2 straight winning weeks. How about that? That's what that means for us. And yeah, look, we had another good day. I know no show yesterday, a ton of afternoons. So it is what it is. But going back to Wednesday, all the way back to Wednesday, if y'all will remember, we fired. We got Texas Rangers money line. They shut out them Baltimore O's 7-0. And we got the Texas and the under 9 parlay for plus 175. We got the Cleveland Guardians winning 5-4 over Toronto. Double dip loss. That Yankees game, we took a shot. Cincinnati had already beaten the Yankees twice in that series. Tried the money line, plus 180. Tried the Cincinnati Reds, plus 1.5 at plus 120. Didn't get either of them. Did, however, get the Max Fried over 6.5 strikeouts. He got 7, plus 120. So all in with that game. We had 3 plays on that series. That game, I should say. 3 plays on that game. And we ended up just down 0.8 units. So we had a shot. I mean, look, that's where you want to position yourselves. We had a shot to get almost 6 units, 5.5 units on that game. We missed. Tampa Bay did cash for us 3-0 over the Kansas City Royals. And the under cashed for us in the Philadelphia games 2-0, 7.5. They lost. So we lost our parlay. Philly in the under 8. But hey, you know what? We pushed that spot. Miami comes through with flying colors to end the night at plus 195. Sadly, the under 7 does not cash, but plus 195. Miami Marlins money line given out here on the show gets there for us. Last but not least, the Connecticut Sun plus 19 does not cash. And they missed that one by about 7 points, I would say. So that's a 3.5 unit show afternoon. 3.5 units. I wanted to check on one thing first. That's a Scud Blaster giving us the $4.99 dono. He says, Mike looks like he just escaped prison. Man, we were all kinds of effed up last night. I probably could have gone. It was fun. Fun to have a night off. But yeah, I'm rocking the orange, man. I told you I used to, I modeled my golf game after after Ricky Fowler. So bright, splashy colors. I was that guy out there that you couldn't miss. And then I'm hooting and hollering because I was fucking sticking it from 150, 175 and all the rest. So anyhow, That's the way we're going to start this show off, with a $4.99 dono from our guy Scott Blaster. And I hope you're doing well, my friend. I hope you are enjoying your summer. Thank you for being a supporter all along the day here, all along the way. We are listener supported, so it is important that you guys, if you like what you're hearing, if you're making some money with us, support us. Help us keep the lights on. You do that by becoming a silver or gold member out there. Lots of bronze membership gifted every single month here. Over 150 bronze memberships. A couple dollars more. We ask you guys if you can do it, spare it. 16 cents a day. Get out there and upgrade for us. Help us out. It really does go a long way to continue with these tools. There's no coincidence that we're firing like we are. This isn't an accident. This isn't just an anomaly. This is leveraging tools, technology, and expertise to help everybody make informed betting decisions. The folks that we're bringing in, the guests that we bring on, the shows that we add to the channel are all to help you guys continue to build your bankroll. So we're at that point of the show. I need you to smash that thumbs up button. Smash it if you haven't done so already. Good business. Get in here, click that thumbs up button. And if you haven't already, take a look down below the comments section. See about that $sign. Think about upgrade. Think about throwing a couple bucks. We'll give you guys a couple extra plays. If you want to help us continue to grow, that's all we ask. And we did get the Balking Dead in today. It was a special guest spot for me. Sharpie gave me the call. Said, can you come in? I said, I sure can. Spin Doc was out today doing some traveling and some of that stuff. So came out there and fired. Five RBIs today. Abel A says he hit a hit parlay on the RBI picks today for a plus 840. Certainly, unless the bases are loaded and they're getting walked, they're going to have to get a hit to get an RBI. So I like the look, Abel A, my man. Thank you. Appreciate all you guys checking out the Balking Dead. We stream it to Sharpie's channel. We stream it to our channel here. And that's very much what we're trying to do to help you guys get paid. Sharpie fired off a 6-pack of K-props. I fired off a 5. Well, technically, there's like a 6-pack of RBI props in there if you double dip that Cubs game. So just trying to give you guys more action, more different looks, right? Give you a whole bunch of options, plays that we're all involved in, but options for you guys to consider how you want to go assemble your card. These are real plays. These aren't just games we're trying to break down to break them down. We could do that too, but we want to give you guys the action that we're involved with. And then how involved we are is a different story. But nonetheless, let's go. Shout out to Kush God, the newest member here on YouTube. What's up, Kush God? Let's go. Let's get after it. You guys know the deal. Time of the show. We're going to read off the best bets from our chat. The best damn chat in the business, here to assemble, give us their favorite looks to beat the books. And it's my favorite part of the show. I love seeing what you guys are on. So bring them in. Let's get them posted. Let's shout out everybody that's in here supporting us tonight. Robert McCormick, Ken Wood, Guillermo Zertucci's in the house. What's up, Guillermo? Stop Geo Engineering. Later, man. It's Friday night. It is Friday night. Friday night. And we have an extra hour here for the UFC now. They pushed it back to 7 p.m. with the subtraction of another fight. So I might get after it a little bit tonight. Let's see. Irish Kings here. Tamari says Red Sox are batting 188 and averaging 311 runs per game since they traded. Dude, that team's not right. We talked about it the other day. I said, team's not right. Literally. Irish King says, no. Some guy escaped from this prison on the outskirts where I'm at. Oh, no. Is it Alligator Alcatraz? I hope not. Stop Geo Engineering says Rays smash spot tonight, in my opinion. Moneyline minus 120 and minus 1 at plus 100. Magnifico 88's here. What's up, Magnifico 88? Peter Gracia. Appreciate you guys coming through, man. Let's do it. Let's get after it. Chris Manriquez is in the house. He says, I'm putting Mike's retirement fund on my next bet. Oh, my retirement fund? Am I funding your next bet? Peter Gracia says, Blue Jays will get to the Sox. The Sox. Bella. Ugly defense, worst in Major League Baseball. Irish King says, what's your daily bankroll? I'll put it on red. Andrew G in the house. Abel A says, under 2.5 earned runs for Mick Abel. in that Philadelphia Phillies uniform. Mitch Morber's here. Peter Gracia says, think you're on to it, Mikey. Socks. Locker room. Yeah. Hey, we said it here first. You don't trade a star player away without something going on. Something out right. Textiles in the house. Something out there in the water in Mass. Celtics in rebuild too. AOD's here, rocking with us. Irish King. Tampa Bay Brewers? No. Toronto Blue Jays, excuse me. Boston Red Sox, over 9.5. I figured it out. I got there. Took me a second. I don't know why it took me a second. I was floating with a couple different plays in my head. Now, we don't have anything involved for 640, so we do have a few mementos here, but you know the deal. We still got to grind. We still got to run this shop here because our boy's going to pop in, and we don't want to keep him waiting. We want to hear what's going on out there in Vegas to get ready for the big UFC card. And you know, with that big UFC card, there's going to be some big action. He says those pay-per-view cards start getting hit 2 weeks in advance. Irish King got them Yankees in the first 5, laying a bundle. Andrew G's here. Likes the old alligator. So they're going to build that thing fast. They got the idea and they're executing on it. Good, bad, or indifferent. I do like people executing quickly. Seattle, Jeff Matthews says, minus 108. And the over 7. Seattle, Texas are 7-3 to the over their last 10. Seattle mucks up Evaldi. Still the kills on the Angels, minus 1.5. And there's our guy, Gonzo. What's up, Gonzo? Hope you're doing well, my friend. Let's go, you guys. Irish King likes Seattle. I like Seattle, too. Seattle just missed the cutting or the first cut for me. Seattle's the first cut for me. There you go. That's what I was trying to say. Also, the Mets and the Pirates. I really like the Mets minus 1. I really like the Mets minus 1. I really like Tampa Bay. I'm concerned about Tampa Bay. I got to be honest with you. As the days evolved, there's just too many people on. And now it's coming down. 78% of the bets and 87% of the cash are on the Rays. It was sitting at minus 130 all day. It's now minus 127. That scares me. I cut that one from the show as well. Athletics and Yankees. Wouldn't be surprised if we see the under in that game. Just looking down the line. Jeff Matthews says lots of steam on the Pirates. Yeah. Another one where the lines come down, minus 164 to minus 140. 85% of the bets and 92% of the cash. You know, we look at the angles here. If you guys are new here, this is what we do here. Try to look at the cash flow splits. Try to look at the injury reports. Try to look at beat writing. All this stuff rolled up into one and try to come up with, an informed betting decision out there. So the cash flow, the market, we were some of the very first ones to be utilizing this market data. While everybody else was arguing, we accepted it. Now they're accepting it. They stopped arguing. So it's no wonder we consistently clip at a high rate. The stay off my lawn guys learned either let people on your lawn or go somewhere else. So anyways, the Yankees game, 93% of the bets, 96% of the cash on the Yankees over the Athletics. I get it. I don't want to be involved in it. The run line, minus 120 for the Yankees. Not considerably horrible, considering they are the home team. They should be up, and in all fairness, you're going to lose that bottom of the 9th inning, right? So that's at least the way it should go. I did give out Cody Bellinger as an RBI prop today. Kind of like in the under. All day I was thinking this game's got overwritten to it, but it's below that key number of 9, right? We talk about the 7s and 9s and even the 11s. Get off my lawn. Get off my, how's he say it? I can't. I don't have a Clint Eastwood. Gran Torino. San Diego Padres and the Cincinnati Reds. Some injuries in the Reds lineup concern me about the viability for the Reds here over the next 7 to 10 days. Was it Friedel? Can't remember which one it was, but one of them boys being out of there. Maybe this is the spot where you play the Reds and then you fade them after that, but it's still in cease against a banged-up Reds lineup. Just my assessment, but this should be a knockdown, drag-out, slam dunk San Diego Padres. I tell you, I like the Reds maybe because of this. Still the kill. Wish I didn't have a fucking lawn, dude. My neighbor's got an all-stone lawn. He turned it's beautiful. He's got it all edged and different designs with different stones and shit. I would say to him, dude, I like it. I wish I didn't have to go cut my lawn twice a week. Anyways, probably take the Padres. Ramon Scott says the Mets and Pirates have been pushed back. I've got to do a far better job of not being involved in rain delays. If you take out the rain delay losses the last 2 weeks for us, man, it's like a half a dozen losses on the card. It's a real thing. Some people, why? I don't know why you got to get that cute with it. I don't know, but I know I want to get involved in the Blue Jays and Red Sox game here. The Sox with all them problems, man. We're going to park the car. We're not going to the game. We're going to sit at the bar. Nobody wants to watch these Red Sox. Nines dropped to 8.5. 76% of the bets and 71% of the cash are on the Sox. Sox smash. Where's Nasty Nate? Are the Sox going to smash tonight, Nasty Nate? That's what we all want to know. Inquiring minds. 48% of the bets, 54% of the cash bet. That's not my finest accent today. Minus 119 has moved to minus 118. So it's oscillating. This is one of them oscillators, right? We talked about this before. It's come down a little bit on the Red Sox, a cent, but it's gone up 7 cents on the J side of things. So it's like a head fake. And it makes sense because you kind of have this pros versus Joes logic going on right now. 52% of the bets are on the Blue Jays, 46% of the cash. It's Bayo. It's Berrios. I like Berrios. The Minnesota Missile. I go back and forth. Now, maybe I'm biased because I watched him pitch in AAA when he was doing a rehab assignment. That was when Minnesota was connected to Rochester before somehow they got involved with the Minnesota Twins. Or I'm sorry, with the Washington Nationals. Worst. Worst. Anyways, what am I doing here? Let me get back to it. Where'd it go? There it is. I was looking at this game and first thing I've talked about is my suspicion that something's not right in the locker room. And that means you have a broken lineup. I'm looking on the Bayo side of things here. And, his most recent performance, he gave you 6 innings. He's reliable. He got 6 Ks, only 1 earned run. 2 homers, however. So kind of a weird setup. Not something you see every day where the guy gets 1 earned run, but 2 homers. So before that, though, you're getting 6+ out of this guy. 6 innings against the Angels. 6.1 means he went into the 7th against the Rays. 7 against the Yankees in a 2-0 shutout. And then a 6-pack. So we can expect some consistency from Bayo, right? That's kind of the way I was looking at this game. At home, just consistent. 5.5 innings consistently from this guy on a regular basis. He's getting into the 6. He's getting into quality start territory. Berrios, I guess, is the big question mark for me. Last year we had a nice little trend where it was fade Berrios day and get all excited. He had a shit spot, one shit spot. Then he fixed it and he fired back. So that shit spot was against Philadelphia. 4.2 innings pitched. He got whacked for 9 hits, 6 runs, 6 earned. Still 5 Ks. Did have a 9-pack against the Athletics. Goes 7.2 against the White Sox at home his last game. So he had back-to-back road starts. What's impressive, though, is this is where I talk about the zigzag. June 4th, he plays against Philadelphia. He goes 6 innings, 4 hits, 5 Ks. 2 starts later, he's playing against Philadelphia again. He only goes 4.2. Keep our eyes on that short window, right? When they've got that quick turnaround inside of 14 days or so against the same opponent. The zigzag theory very much in effect. He goes out there, he busts up the White Sox. He goes into 8 innings. This is where I want to start getting into, guy's kind of had his high mark of the season. I don't want to follow it back up, I guess is what that comes down to. But what I will get involved with here is a look at this total. And we're seeing the Red Sox are struggling to score. They had that West Coast trip out there. They're returning home. So they had 3 straight series on the West Coast. Seattle, San Francisco, Angels, broken team, life beyond Devers, and Devers. I don't know why I messed that up. Anyways, for me, in this process, there was no other way but to fire on a total. The total I'm going to fire on here is an AL East battle. I'm looking to see lower scores. That's the process that I thought this game broke down to here, is giving us an under 8.5. For a couple, by the way, if I was looking to play a Berrios prop, I'd take his over 5.5 Ks. A juicy little plus number. We'll talk about it here in a second, but this is a big divisional rivalry. They see each other quite a bit. I mentioned Berrios, 7 earned runs over 19 hits and 25 innings pitched. The guy's playing best baseball of the season. And why do I like his K prop? Because it's the whiff rate that we're seeing on the Red Sox here. Over the last 2 weeks, their whiff rate's over 27.5%. 6 strikeouts for Berrios. Should be on the docket for him tonight here at plus money, if you haven't bet it already. But I like the under 8.5 because I do think that these two pitchers can play well. Bayo, as much as I talk about his ERA, is 2.49 over his last 4 starts. So he's bunching it together. They're losing in his starts, but they're a bunch of losers. So we'll dismiss that. We'll just expect this to be a lower scoring game. Boston's only got 14 runs over their last 5 games altogether, so they're under that 3.5 runs per game mark. And it puts us in a good position to cash this under 8.5 to open up the card here tonight. What do you think about that? Where's Nasty Nate? It's your cousin from Boston. Let's go. Peterson's getting better. I work on it every day. I don't know. Today's not my finest. I didn't feel like I gave it my finest here. Jerry Davis says Berrios has owned Boston. Last 5 starts, he's 4-0 with 1 no decision in there. Well said, Jerry Davis. Not a bad look. Yeah. If I was going to play a side, I'd play the Jays. This total's come down, as I mentioned, from 9 to 8.5. There's still some 9s out there. I got the 8.5 at even money. Actually, I think it was like plus 102. So that's the way we'll kick this party off here, I guess is what I was not trying to say. I don't know what I was trying to say. I don't know where I was going with that. We're going to kick something. Kick the bookies in the ass. Philly and Atlanta. 17 minutes. I got to get the timer out there when we got our boy coming on here. We got to have the countdown. The countdown till we get him in here. I love hearing what he has to say. Hope you guys get ready. If you have some questions for the UFC or anything really sports gambling related, methodology and setting lines, our guy is here to talk to us about that process in 15 minutes. So let's talk Atlanta, Philadelphia. I talked about this on Sharpie's show earlier today. We don't need to really belabor the point. And I'll talk to you about a nice little trend that validates this here. But if you're not taking Philadelphia, you're making a mistake. They might not win the game, but it's a mistake. They just went out there and got swept by Houston. They scored 1 run in 3 games. This team ain't broken. In fact, Bryce Harper's going to come back, and Bryce Harper's talking about, do you want me to play righty or lefty? How do you want me to go? Where do you want to put me so that this team can go out there and be in win now mode? They're not fumble fucking around thinking, oh, this guy wants to play first base and I want to play first base. I'm just going to take my ball and go home. That's not what's going on inside this locker room right now. And they came across an Astros team that's playoff contender with sharp pitching matchups. And they took the L. They didn't have it. Okay. We look at the splits here. A little bit of late movement to the Braves. Suckers want to drop almost $2 on the Braves. 42% of the bets and 50-50 split on the cash. Sharper better see it the way I see it here with this Phillies team. The number. This is one of those spots where I can honestly say, I think you look at this number and you're like, man, this has got to be the play on spot here. The total of 9 has moved to 9.5. 52% of the bets and 52% of the cash coming in on the over. It has moved. The problem is you got Bryce Elder, and he's facing Mick Abel. Mick Abel's been playing fantastic. We talked about this. He had kind of one bad start where they said he was pitching his tip or tipping his pitches, pitching his tips. That sounds dirty. And I think he fixed it. Bryce Elder, on the other hand, though, look, you know what you're going to get from this guy. He's going to put ducks on the pond. He might give you 5 innings. Just as an example, his last game, he plays lowly Miami, who we did just get some nice plus money with. 5.1 innings pitched, 10 hits, 5 earned run, only 4 strikeouts. That's what we're getting here with this meatball. And so now you're going to take him against the rookie phenom sensation out there, about to steal Paul Skeen's girlfriend, hottest pitcher in Major League Baseball, Mick Gable. 1.74 ERA, this guy on the road, and he's coming off of that suspect start. 3 innings pitched, 6 hits, 4 earned runs, all of them homers against the Mets. Probably not feeling too good. This will be his 3rd straight divisional start. Here's the thing for me with this game. As I mentioned, the sweep and the low scoring, 1 run. I talked earlier today, I like Kyle Schwarber. This guy's just not priced right when it comes to his ability to go out there and smash. 14-0. Divisional dog is the better team on a 3-game skid. Thank you, Houston Astros, for sweeping the Phillies in a 3-game series. They're the best team in the NL. They're on a 3-game losing streak, and they're the dog. 14-0. Our teams like Philadelphia in this position tonight, and we will fire away on the Philadelphia Phillies. We will roll on, and we're going to take a little Giants action here, a little Giantes, -1. We talked about this being the 25th best hitting team in baseball as of late. Is that sustainable? I don't think so. This is a team where they're working players into a roster that's already got a lot of players in there. So they got to just get them. First rule of building a team, you got to get the right people on the bus. Second rule of building the team, get them in the right seats on the bus. A little Malcolm Gladwell action. And look, there's a drop you probably haven't heard on a lot of sports shows. 87% of the bets and 94% of the cash on the San Francisco Giants has come down a couple cents. The total at 8.5 moved to 9 with 72% of the bets and 68% of the cash on the over. Do you trust Root? Well, I certainly don't trust Savali. Bottom line, by the numbers, yeah, San Francisco just had their hands full, right? Problem is they're just not finding the runs. Now, take a step back because you're playing the White Sox. The White Sox are right at their season win percentage expectation for the whole, meaning they'll probably lose 3, win 1, lose 3, win 1, lose 3, win 1, pretty much the rest of the season. The question is, which is the one they're going to win? And I don't think Savali with your guy on the bump is the guy to do it out there. He's been struggling mightily. He's been lit up. He's got a 5.03 ERA. And he just puts ducks on the pond. His on-base percentage is .351 his last 2 starts. 15 hits, 12 innings pitched. He's a little bit of a bitch. He said, I don't want to play in Milwaukee's bullpen. Trade me right fucking now. And they did. And they were like, here you go, dude. You're going to be a White Sox. Congratulations. And since then, he hasn't done shit. 15 hits, 12 innings pitched. Should be an opportunity to fire on this guy. I just think that the San Francisco Giants lineup is going to find the right groove and the right positions that their players should be in. And we got a guy that's a whiny little bitch on the other side of things here. The White Sox have lost 7 of their last 10. Savali is not the answer. Root, all things considered, his lowest ERA in a 3-game consecutive series since the beginning of May. So you're catching Root at his high point. And you want to fade away on Savali. So that's a simple little breakdown for me with that game. That's how I wanted to get involved with that one. Nasty. Didn't sound right when I said it. I knew instantly I didn't say it right. Stop Geo says, not sure if you said it or not, but Vlad Guerrero Jr. out tonight with the forearm. Yeah, I missed it. I didn't say that, but yeah, there's a couple of guys that have been out. Eberk says Abel ain't him, huh? Probably not a bad spot to be low again. A low total. Redbeard says pinch and roll. Yeah. Livy Dunn. She is looking around. It's like, hey, You can't string together win streaks like Pimp Slap. You got to go. Ramirez out for Cleveland as well. I spent a lot of time this morning looking for Ramirez RBI props, and then I saw him, the lineup wasn't out at lunchtime, and I thought, that's suspect. That's not right. All right. So we got the Giants and White Sox game underway. Let's talk a couple of trends here that have some intersecting zeros. You know we love our intersecting zeros. Got a lot of buttons clicked here. A lot of buttons to unclick to get to this one here with this Texas under. And we're going right back to it. It's been good to us, this Texas under, partly because Texas bats are, hard to judge when they're going to come out, when they're going to come alive. When they do, they fire. They're playing the Mariners. Full disclosure. I said this the other day. The Mariners are fundamentally flawed in the way that they're built to play baseball. And where they go, when you've got small ballparks, they stomp. They probably win tonight. So you guys that are looking at Seattle, I get it. Your ballpark's too big up there at T-Mobile, Seattle, for the lineup that you have right now. And you don't have enough grinders on the squad. Cal Raleigh's not enough. Now, they did say Cal Raleigh's going to go to the home run derby, which is sad because he will come back from the home run derby all fucked up, as they all do. So we got this total open. I'm sorry, the side opens at -105. Action moving in on the Mariners. 49% of the bets and 72% of the cash. I'm sorry, 62% of the cash. 49 and 62. Sorry. Total's gone from 8 to 7. 69% of the bets and 51% of the cash. There's 7.5 floating out there. This could very well be one of those cases where I jump back in later and take Seattle in the under 8. Texas is starting to figure it out, but here's the thing. This is one of them spots where we don't just have a margin. In other words, when Texas scores at least 7 runs, they're 11-0-2 to the under. The margin in those games after they score 7, the blow low theory, right? The margin is 2.7 runs less than the total in those games after they blow their load. But we have something that's even more compelling here. Even money to a medium favorite, Texas Rangers at home, 17 straight unders. And they're averaging, this isn't margin, this is average, 4.9 runs per game. Even though this has come down a full run in some cases, I still think there's plenty of value there. And then you got Logan Gilbert from the Seattle side of things, as if it's not enough that you got these double Texas under spots. He's got himself an 8-0. Versus a team he had less than 8 strikeouts against the previous game and the total less than 11.5. They're sitting on a 4.3 run total in those spots out there. Total for the game, 4.3. So expect a lower scoring game. I think that the money is moving in on the Mariners. Again, teams built for this is a baby ballpark. This is when you look at baby ballparks, it's not just my arbitrary assessment. This is one of those expected home runs per every other ballpark. When you measure the distance of the home runs these players hit against the rest of the ballparks in Major League Baseball, Texas ranks up there as one of the littler guys, one of the smaller guys. Miami, Arizona, last game in the baseball run, making good time. I got to fire off some of these WNBA spots though before our boy gets here, because I do want to talk some UFC. It's time to get ready for that playbook tonight. I'll be firing away. I already put a couple spots in there, but gonna crack away. And a big lofty skip through some of these games here. The Marlins and the Diamondbacks, though. Marlins, man, running hot. Don't look now. Caught a nice plus 195 with them the other night. It was glorious. And then last night again, I mean, geez. 86% of the bets, 95% of the cash are on the Diamondbacks. Total's gone down. I'm sorry, the money's gone down 9 cents, minus 193 to minus 184. Sometimes I'm spitting off all those numbers and I'm trying to read it out loud and do the math in my head on the fly, and it didn't work out that time. 85% of the bets and 87% of the cash are on the over. I got the Sharp Respected betting report this afternoon, I should say. Guess what's taken action? The under. Yuri Perez, Merrill Kelly will both get the anointed starts here in this game. And 2 righties, so you don't have that lefty-lefty comfort. And Yuri Perez, He's trying to bounce back. His last game out there, he got 4.2 innings hit. So they left him into the 5th inning, and he disappointed. He got 4 hits, 3 earned runs. They did get shut out against Atlanta in that game. It was a divisional game, and he had back-to-back divisional series. I've talked about this before. When they play the division teams 2 times in a row or more, I always feel like that's a little bit of a challenge out there. Merrill Kelly, excuse me, on the other hand, 3.09 ERA in his own right. Just smashed Colorado at Coors, by the way. 6 innings pitched, 6 hits, 2 earned runs at Coors. Impressive numbers. Impressive numbers for young Merrill Kelly. I don't want to get involved with the side. I'm going to go back to the total. I'm going to look at an under. Miami's got themselves a 10-0 under when the total is less than 7.5 after a win. They're averaging 5.6 runs per game. Yuri Perez, after giving up 4 more hits, he does bounce back. He's 8-0 to the under. He's averaging 4.5 runs in those games. That's the run totals for those games. And Merrill Kelly, 11-0 to the under. After a divisional start where he allowed at least 6 hits. So you've got 2 pitcher bounce back trends. He's averaging in those games 5.8 on the Merrill Kelly side of things. So I took the hook. I paid up just a splashy little tag. Splashy little tag for this Miami spot. Down from 9 to 8.5 and starting to see 8s. Good for us. Good for me. I'll take a shot with that. Let's pop off some WNBA really quick before our boy joins us here. A couple games I like. I'm going to jump in on the Liberty. And I'm going to take the 1.5. Wrong team's favorite. This is overreaction city right now in my estimation here. You've got a Liberty team that did finally, get a win. And they're playing this Mercury team here. But when you look at Mercury, 4 straight road games, now they're back home. The Liberty barely snuck a W out that last game. They've already been out there on the West Coast. I think this is a tricky little scheduling spot where you're taking that team that's coming back home after the 4 games and you're saying you're going to lose this game outright. That's why the spread's 1.5. Now there was some Sabrina Ionescu news that's coming in and out on the route there. I want to be on the tail end of the moves. We've talked about this before when it comes to, they bake a lot of this stuff in. Then the public hears it. And because there's not a lot of people playing, it's fire back and overreact time. So Peter Kraska says he swears DraftKings listens to the show. Wouldn't surprise me. They're like, these dudes have the code. These guys have the source code to the playbook. What's going on out there? So I'm going to take these gals right off the gate. Kelly V said it. They already played them once and they lost. So I like a little Liberty. Game number 2 I'm going to pop in on. I'm going to take a shot. It's a lot of points again. And it's our favorite system. Blown out, cold streak, large dog. Books overreact. It's 182 and 124 in those spots to the dog with all them points. 182 and 124. And that's very much the case with these girls. Getting busted up every time they lace up the high tops. It ain't pretty. That's the Sun and Storm. And yeah, I get it. The Storm can certainly go out there and run one of 2 games, the defensive game or the blow you out game out there. But they're coming off that loss to the Fever. We talked about that. Prior to tough little stretch. Los Angeles, Las Vegas, New York, now Indy. I think this is one of those spots where I want the full game because I do think it's easy to overlook this team over the long haul. Like Storm probably come out there and just start bully balling them. And then next thing you know, it's 4th quarter and they're down or they're up 8 points. And you're like, what happened to that 30-point lead they had at halftime? So keep our eyes on live betting options for that one. See if our boy's going to pop in here as we go to the last one. This is a tricky one for me. The last game I had, it does talk a little bit about a fade spot. This is a fade spot for the Chicago Sky. I'll tell you that right off the hop. The Sky I'm a little out of sorts here too. The Sky and the Valkyrie playing in San Francisco. Valkyrie 7-7. Even though all those players went to Europe and everyone was like, oh my God, what are they going to do? They're still firing. They're still playing good basketball. No love lost there. Yeah, they just lost to the New York Liberty by 3 points. That was a Liberty team that's been struggling to find its way with some of the injuries to Sabrina and the sorts. They smacked Connecticut. They smacked the Fever without Caitlin. Well, I don't remember if Caitlin Clark was in that game or not. Anyways, flip side of things here. I talked to you guys about the Sky. We were dialed into their team total unders when they were 73.5. They moved it to 85.5. Second guessed it. The over was the good look. Live bet them. And they came out there and they beat that LA Spark team. They are now in an 0-13 position, so it's not really a spot we necessarily want to go in and hammer. I'm sorry, 0-8 spot. Basically, with rest and an 8-point or greater dog, the Sky find themselves 0-8. But we can get a whole bunch of points in the first half. They can blow the game down the stretch. The talent separation can come into play all it wants. But I think this is a good opportunity for us. DraftKings just went down to 19. Did they really? Dude, they are listening to us. We're on point. We're giving up that good information. Uh-oh. Let me see if I sent a link. Let me see. Yeah. It's my fault. Let me send the right link to our guy here. I jumped into the wrong StreamYard earlier, so and then I was firing off the link, and I knew I screwed something up because he's dialed in and he's on point. Look, he's on time. As always, our guy. We didn't get him last week. We did not get him last week, so we will get him in here this week, ready to roll and fire with us as he gets his camera going. It was my fault, everybody. It was my fault. I sent the wrong link because I screwed up. But let's bring in that guy from Las Vegas. It's Andrew Babikinas. What's up, Andrew? How are you?
What's up? Exciting day here. We have a PFL and some slap fight for the people. We got that booked today. So we got all sorts of fights or whatever you call them, slap offs, and then a really amazing card tomorrow. So a lot of bettable prices tomorrow on a big pay-per-view. So I'm really looking forward to that one. I'm feeling like this should be a extremely high handle and volume card.
Well, I know you've said that the pay-per-view cards do get you start getting like 2 weeks worth of action on these things here. And, last week's card, ho-hum. But before we even get into it, talk to me about these slap-offs. Are you guys getting like real money on these things? Or are these just like little fun bets? Do I have to embrace change?
I have never put a wager on my own on any of these slap fights. It's not really for me, but I'm trying to embrace whatever the people want, and we're writing some bets. It's obviously not UFC or not even PFL, but it's in Vegas, so it's at the Fountain Blue. There's people in town. Sometimes they ask for it at the window, so we have it booked, and if you want to bet it, this is a good spot to come do it for sure.
Well, Andrew joins us from the Superbook at the Westgate in Las Vegas. He's going to take us behind the counter and talk a little bit about where some of this liability looks. And my man is good at this thing here. He sets them lines and he rolls the train for us here. So I do want to touch on PFL. So you tell me where you want to start. The floor is yours. I'll get the car all washed up and ready for you to drive.
Right on. Yeah. So do you want to start with UFC or do you want me to talk about it? PFL. Okay.
Yeah, let's fire off on the UFC.
All right, right on. Let me scroll down to it. All right, so I'll go over a few of the fights where I've seen some notable movement and some notable action. But also, if you guys have any questions about any fights or totals, I'm definitely willing to touch up on any of the fights. I'll quickly go through some of the ones that aren't on the pay-per-view portion. Down at the bottom of the card, the Denise fight versus the Hines. We clearly were a little bit misjudging the price here on this one. We opened Denise at minus 190. We got some sharp action at minus 210. And then today, there was another spike in the price, and now we're sitting minus $4 on Denise. So that price basically doubled from where we opened it. I mean, moved 200 cents. So clearly we were a little bit off on that one, and there's sharp money there to back it. So not the best of work on that fight to start the card. But then we'll go up a little bit. The McKinney versus Slavy Claus fight. We have a very, very good two-way handle on this fight. This is a spot where the big guy, our big guy, one of our best UFC bettors came in. He's been on kind of a cold streak. He's lost his last few, but he only bets dogs. He bet Borischev at plus 175, but then we got some buyback on the other side. There is some McKinney lovers and backers this week, so there's solid two-way, and it hasn't been difficult to right back handle from that Slavy Claus side. So at the end of the day, we'll probably at least want to break even on Borischev, because there will be a boatload of parlay money with McKinney. So it's not like we're gonna give the house away on needing Slavy Claus. But yeah, we would like to have a nice little win since there's some sharp backing on that fight. Hyder Emil versus Delgado. That one's moved quite a bit. We opened Delgado at minus 150. It got as high as minus 175. At the point it hit minus 175, one of our sharper UFC customers came in and bet Hyder Emil at plus 155. So that's been a big time, ping pong ball mover. It's bounced back and forth in that fight. Yeah, and then we did get a little bit of sharp action on Gregory Rodriguez. That's another one that's moved about 50 cents. We opened at minus 170. We got hit at minus 180. I personally think Hermansson's got I think he's got a shot as a sizable dog, one of the bigger dogs of the week. I think he's got a shot. So we're not digging our heels in on that one to, write a bunch of Hermansson money early, but there's been some backers on that side as well. Then we'll talk about the main card, because there's a lot of really good fights on there. Good two-way on the Lima Talbot fight. I won't touch on that very much. The price is slowly coming down as there is some Talbot backers. Moicano versus Dariush. That's another big-time mover. We opened up Moicano at minus 150. Yeah, it got hit pretty big. The big guy came in for a second spot on this week's card and bet Dariush at plus 135. So we're currently sitting minus 115, minus on Moicano, minus 05 on Dariush. So almost a flat pick 'em in that fight. So yeah, that's a big time mover, almost flipping the favorites. Josh Van versus Brandon Royval is a fight where the favorite did switch. We opened up Royval minus 120. We got hit pretty instantly on Joshua Van at even money. Then there was more backers on Van, so the favorite actually flipped. He went to minus 120. But then today there's been Royval money, so we're sitting at a flat pick over here on that fight. Cara France versus Pantoja, the co-main event, 5-rounder. Pretty solid fight. We opened this one up, months ago when they announced that this was going to be the fight. We opened up Pantoja at minus 250. It got as high as minus 270. We've had some Cara France backers, and the price has come down quite a bit. We're sitting minus 215 on Pantoja. Wouldn't say that's necessarily sharp or notable action. And then lastly, the main event, Topuria versus Charles Oliveira. This is another one we opened up very early. We opened up Topuria minus 350. It looked as if early we did not come out with the greatest price, because it kind of climbed all the way up to $5 range. But over the last few days, there has been a backing on that Charles Oliveira side, and we're back down to minus 380 on Topuria. So almost right next to where we opened that fight at. So that's kind of what we're looking at for the card so far. Good two-way in that main event, which is always a nice thing to see. You don't want to have all your eggs in one basket in these fights, and a lot of fights that we have a lot of room to work with on this card for sure.
Sounds like the action is a plentiful over there with this UFC card. As expected, he told us that happens with pay-per-view. I got a bunch of questions. Let me temper my excitement here because I'm jacked up for this card here. What the hell happens when a fight opens up and it gets canceled, and then you see such significant movement, like $150's worth of movement for that, Moicano battle out there from when it got canceled to now? What the was it just like the reaction from the bookmakers that saw how the line was being peppered the first time it opened up, or was there some type of late news that led you to going?
For sure, that does happen. I don't know if we talked about it, but that Paul Craig versus who did he fight? Bellato, the fight he just had, and then there was the illegal up kick, and then weird knockout or whatever happened. But there was a lot of sharp money the first time that fight was booked on Paul Craig, and you could see an adjustment in the pricing as that line kind of got reopened. The bookmakers are like, okay, we're ahead of you guys this time a little bit with where the price was going to end up, because like I told you before, a lot of the times it's more valuable for me to give information as late as possible, because these guys are doing their best to keep their action at a certain point until they can get down the bigger limits a day of the fight. It's not necessarily always that way, right? I mean, we do get sharp action early and the line just goes that way and does not stop, right? Like, I don't see the Denise fight coming back down. We opened at minus 190. It's sitting $4. Like, we're in a hole on that one. So there's not much you can do with those kind of fights. But yeah, that's a really good question. I think it's definitely applicable with the injury news or a canceled fight when we have some sort of intel from the bettors.
I've heard things from retirement match to problems in the. I've heard so. I mean, it just seems like it's all speculation. Nobody knows for sure what seems to be happening. Where for at least from what I've heard on this thing here, but just a big movement to see a guy like Dariush open up as I mean, essentially, like you said, a pick 'em at this point just seems something ain't quite right there. But how about this one from an optics perspective? It's certainly, first of all, you touched my nerve with that Paul Craig fight, man. That's 2 times in like 4 weeks that Paul Craig fight screwed me, because I use like bankroll management as far as how I want to go unload on a fight. And you and I talked about Paul Craig that first time. So then it gets canceled and he comes back and he's looking great. And that was like the, I don't know what you make of that. I mean, that was like one eye's open. Like, did you see him illegally up kick me? And then it was like,
that was a strange one. I don't think I've really ever seen anything like that. And, I would never accuse a professional fighter of, faking an injury. So maybe it was just like a weird circumstances like that. That was a very strange one. He like put his arms up and looked at the ref, and then he got like knocked out.
He tried subbing the ref. He tried subbing his leg.
It was a wild outcome for sure. I mean, I hope they don't rebook that fight and we just move on to the next one, because that feels like a cursed fight for sure.
I said the same thing. I was like, I'm done with this fight. And I like Paul Craig. And I just saw they gave Paul Craig does he have another 5-fight deal now? I think I saw like as of yesterday.
A new contract. I think 5 fights sounds about right.
He's a fun guy to watch, and his fights they're not boring, I guess, is what it comes down to. So optics though, Andrew, talk to me here. Ilia Topuria, Charles Oliveira, their weigh-ins. He's petting his head like he's his dog, telling him he's a good boy. I mean, his head's literally the size of the head's difference between these two guys. Does that play in at all when you guys are looking at the line like, oh shit? Because I was thinking Topuria knocks. Both these dudes want to come out at each other aggressively. They're both kind of, shoot a box to brawling type of guys. They like to go fight aggressively. And to me, that just looks like, hey, you're probably going to get touched on the button and someone's going to go down early here. But does the book see those weigh-ins at all and make decisions based on the weigh-in perception and the optics, or is that still geared by, what's happening when it comes to, sharp betting action?
For sure. I mean, you could definitely see movement after the weigh-ins. That does happen a lot. I think a lot of people do have initial reads, and they honestly wait till they see how people look at the weigh-ins, and if somebody looks bad, they might change their opinion, or it might solidify the bet that they wanted to make. So yeah, there is a lot of movement after the weigh-ins, that's for sure. I think Taporia looks pretty solid. I'm sure this weight cut was not as obviously as tough for him. And you got to think at some point he is going to hit Oliveira. Oliveira has been tough and come back from a lot of close calls. Like with Gaethje, he almost got clipped in that fight. The Chandler one, I know he got knocked down in the first round. So I don't think Taporia is somebody you really want to mess with his hands. But for this fight in particular, I know there's going to be some Oliveira backers. So I was a little bit surprised that the price was up in that $5 range for Taporia and his, I know it's his second fight at 155, but yeah, I was a little surprised that price got that high. So we'll see what it looks like tomorrow. Like I said, usually these guys wait till those prices hit at the top of the ceiling, and then day of the fights, they're betting those big time dogs. So there's a few fights I'm keeping my eye on that I could see that happening tomorrow, and that's certainly one of them.
Which one's your favorite fight of the night? Which one might catch your attention and maybe a couple dollars?
I think that this Royval one feels very similar to last week's fight with Fiziev. I'm a little confused about the line. I kind of thought Royval would be the favorite, and the early action came in on Van. And I just feel like this is I think Van is really, really good. I just think this is a big step up in competition on a short turnaround against a guy who's kind of been there for a while. And, he has some advantages. He's got the reach. He's got the length. His grappling is really solid. But Van hits like a train for that weight class. So it should be a fun fight. But if I had to bet that, I think I would bet Royval just based off of pedigree.
So it's funny because we break balls. My brother loves Van, and we're all saying, I can't believe he's not on Van, but he's not. And I was looking at Royval thinking there's a lot of weight cuts for Van in this process here. Like Van's never said no to a fight, and that might be a little too much here with Royval, but that's awesome insight. Hey, real quick while we have you, I want to respect the time, but PFL, I know there's this big PFL event here underway today. Is there anything that jumped out at you here as we move through this line? And is there any money making opportunities for us here, PFL tonight?
Yeah, we had one of our sharper, at least UFC customers, come in and bet on a few of the underdogs. I'm not gonna say I've been really tracking his PFL action, so I won't say I know he's doing very well in the PFL, but I'll just give you guys some of the shots he took, and you can do with that what you will. He bet, I'm going to butcher this guy's last name, Carl Albertson in one of the, I guess it's middle of the card fights against Rafael Xavier. He bet that at plus 170. He did bet Romanov at plus 55. That price looks like it's kind of moving in his face. If you want to get that price, it's still out there, pretty widely available. So I know he's an ex-UFC guy, Romanov, going over to the PFL. It's going to be an interesting one. And then he bet Aaron Jeffrey at plus 145 against Dalton Rosta. So, my education level is not as high with the PFL. I try to watch the fights, but, there's a lot of moving pieces. So hopefully those help you, a few underdog plays, and you only need a couple of those to have a good day, especially for the book. We're going to be looking for a couple dogs in the PFL and the UFC, obviously, for sure.
I'd imagine you guys are going to start getting some parlays hooked together too. Probably some of these bigger dogs on PFL or bigger favorites on PFL will be, I'd imagine you hook them together with a couple big favorites on the UFC and you got yourself a little cross MMA fight card here. But
absolutely.
Well, that's awesome, man. This is always my favorite segment. I enjoy having you come on, and a man of the people with the wisdom to talk about where that cash is coming in. So we appreciate you here with Sports Money, brother. Tell them what you got going on. Tell them where they can find you. What's
Right
cooking?
on, yeah. So I mean, if you're in Vegas in town, definitely come stop by the sports book. I'd say there's not a better place to watch the games than being here. I know Circa's got the pool. If you're That's a fun spot too if you're trying to get in the water. But indoors, I don't think there's a better sports book in the world, honestly. So yeah, if you're in town, stop by. We'll do some reduced juice on a couple of the fights for tomorrow. Very fair splits in a lot of the sports. And yeah, I mean, I'm always thankful for you having me on. If you haven't followed me on X yet, definitely do that. I'm trying to get more and more content out for the people, just talking about line moves, sharp action I'm seeing, just different uh, takes from behind the desk. Not as much of my opinions, just what I'm seeing and information I'm able to share with you guys. So yeah, if you haven't followed me, please feel free to.
Terrific follow. My guys putting content out there all weekend long for you guys when it comes to the sharp betting reports, where even some of the other sports, exactas and the other things that he covers as well. So make sure you do follow at Babakitas24 on X. We'll get our guy back here for the next upcoming UFC event, but always much appreciation, Andrew. Thank you for taking the time out of the day, and I hope you have a great weekend.
Thank you. Yeah, absolutely.
And all
Looking
of you guys, on
forward.
behalf of Sports Money, you guys enjoy the weekend. Make sure you join us live Saturday. We're going to get pushed back about a half an hour, it sounds, but we'll be doing what we do, and hopefully you come on through. We'll see you guys really soon.